Don't leave me hanging. It's go time.
Hey everybody, this is Josh, and welcome to another, what sort of adjective should I use? Astonishing game of StarCraft 2. Did I use that already? Either way, it's between WhiteRa, the red Protoss down here in the bottom right corner of Shakuras Plateau, and his opponent once again is BratOK, the yellow Terran, over here on the bottom left corner of Shakuras Plateau. And this is the unaltered version. Once again, there's no cliff here. There are still destructible rocks, so there is a backdoor possibility here. Unlike the new version of Shakuras Plateau, where these rocks have been replaced by sheer cliffs, and there have been rocks placed here and here instead. I actually made a video about it yesterday, so you can go look at my channel for that explanation of the new Shakuras Plateau. But anyway, this is Game 3, so it is a stunning conclusion, and should be a good one. We've seen some good play out of both of these players so far, even though the games ended in the mid-game, and both players actually have done some pretty aggressive things. WhiteRa actually has been dictating the pace of both games so far with his attacks. The first one on Xel'Naga Caverns just happened to go in his favor, and the second one on Lost Temple happened to not go very well in his favor, and he didn't have any units left to defend back at home, and basically everything fell apart in his hands. He couldn't both micro on his defense and on his attack, as well as BratOK could on his defense and his drop. So he bit the dust, and now Game 3 of this Black Dragon League Best of 3 series, we will see who will take home the championship. Not really. This is just a best of 3. I don't know what the significance of it is. I'm not sure if it was a semi-finals or a finals or anything like that. It's just a lovely best of 3 series that I happen to find the replays for, so we will see what happens. Either way, beating the other player here in this matchup is an accomplishment. WhiteRa beating BratOK would be just as huge as if BratOK beat WhiteRa here, so both players looking for a little bit of glory, regardless of the actual significance of it. Cybernetics Core coming down for WhiteRa, very standard timings once again from both players. Nothing too exciting going on here. Would be surprised if they shook off of their very standard build orders, especially since they've probably each played these build orders hundreds and hundreds of times at this point in StarCraft 2's life. And the game is actually over a year old now, as far as I'm concerned. I played in the beta from February 19th, 2010 until now. Both of these guys have as well. And the fact that the release date was actually in July, I'm wondering if there will be any kind of one-year celebrations by Blizzard or anything like that. There are still a lot of things in this game I feel like they could improve on. The most recent patch, I feel, was almost a step backwards in terms of the win-loss ratios not being shown anymore for players below Masters League. I mean, knowing how many games you've lost is not really that bad. I mean, if some people feel more comfortable playing when they know that their losses won't be revealed to the world, that's cool, but make it like a toggle, you know? Maybe some players do want to see their losses so they can improve, or maybe they have actually really good records, like, I don't know, 75 and 25 or something like that, and they're proud of their win-loss ratio despite what, you know, league or what rank they might be in their league. So different strokes for different folks. I have a feeling that a toggle would be much more well received than just turning off losses for everybody. For me, it doesn't matter though, because I don't even play, and I'm waiting till the ladder actually resets here soon before I start laddering myself, and we'll see what a horrendous failure that will be. But for the time being, this game has actually progressed a little bit. We see 2 assimilators here for WhiteRa, gateways number 2 and 3 coming along. No robotics facility yet or a Nexus, but with this probe parked here at the Natural, I have to imagine a Nexus is going to be coming up here really soon at 400 minerals. There it is, and this probe hides instead of building a Nexus because he knew this SUV was on his way, and he didn't want to reveal to BratOK that he was expanding. So excellent little move there by WhiteRa, you know, hiding his expansion. That's pretty cool. BratOK not worried about hiding his expansion. He just builds it inside his base, and WhiteRa is going to have a hard time getting in there to see it anyway because there's a bunker at the top of his ramp with units inside. BratOK still has not built a ton of actual units. He's got one Reaper over here that looks like it did actually manage to kill a sentry and then ran away, but other than that, it didn't really give him a lot of information or anything like that. Well, actually, yeah, he did. He did actually get in to see all three of those gateways. So BratOK with a good idea of what his opponent is doing, WhiteRa with a bad idea of what his opponent is doing. He's sending this probe over here to this sort of top spawn natural, probably to drop a pylon. He may check both to see if BratOK is expanded there, but really it's 7 minutes in. Yeah, here comes a pylon being built, but BratOK actually coming in with the Reaper, going to kill off that probe quite easily. And now this pylon might be forfeit as well. We'll see if the Reaper can actually damage it enough before the Stalker gets over here. Either way, BratOK knows the pylon is there, so he could come attack it here in the near future. WhiteRa has arrived with his first string of Tier 1 units. He's warping in 3 Zealots right as that pylon finishes. Dropping a couple of force fields don't actually work in his advantage. He actually blocks his own path up the ramp here, or towards the ramp, I should say, and it looks like BratOK has more than enough units actually to be able to handle this small amount of units from WhiteRa. He never got the Zealots involved either that he warped in, so BratOK getting a little bit of a gift there. Units lost should be favoring him. Yeah, totally does. So BratOK off to a good start here, even though WhiteRa is the aggressor. 60 supply for WhiteRa, 54 for BratOK. He is actually supply blocked for the moment, and he is behind on harvester count. WhiteRa does have his second nexus completed now, and is chrono boosting probes out, as well as getting his first robotics facility of the game. So it looks like he is going back to his Xel'Naga Caverns sort of strategy here. Lots and lots of Tier 1 units for the first attack, and then following up with Immortals. But here we see Guardian Shield going up. Once again, that is one of the best spells you could possibly use in this matchup, alongside EMP, but all these Marines and Marauders seem to be favoring BratOK still. He's got quite a good supply lead. He's got stim, he's got combat shields, and there are just not enough fighting units here for WhiteRa to actually be able to do enough damage. And another stim going off for BratOK, so a lot of his units are injured, but they have such high DPS that I don't think WhiteRa is going to be able to hold this with just the few sentries that he has left, and know that you see them all explode there, and BratOK already knows about this pylon. We saw him attacking it earlier with that Reaper, so he's just going to march up here and finish that little thing off. Now WhiteRa should be feeling a little bit vulnerable right now. His units are essentially 2 Zealots and 1 Sentry against quite a lot of Marines and Marauders, 22 Marines, 4 Marauders, and BratOK has been taking up this entire time. He's got concussive shells on the way, finishing off that trifecta of tech lab upgrades. He's got a starport about to complete here, so he can start getting some medevacs to assist his many Marines and Marauders. He's also expanding a second time here up at this natural for the top spawn location. Harvester count should, well, I was going to say should favor BratOK, but now we see the mineral count is favoring BratOK, but the actual harvester count is favoring WhiteRa, and he's working off of 4 gas as well. First Immortal is out here for WhiteRa. He's got 4 sentries to drop a bunch of force fields at least, to help him, stay alive, as it looks like BratOK is beginning his march of doom here with lots and lots of Marines and Marauders. He stims up just this front group and gets them pinned with the force field, so he could actually back off here. He didn't stim with everything. That is a nifty little move as well. He knew the force fields were coming, so he only stimmed a handful of units to get them trapped, and the bulk of his forces are still alive. That's quite interesting. I'm wondering how much he thought about that before he actually did it. That's kind of cool. But Scouting Factory for BratOK takes one long little trip over the top of WhiteRa's base once again. He sees 5 warp gates total, and he knows about the robotics facility. If he did see the Immortal, I'm not 100% sure that he saw the Immortal, but should know about it nonetheless. Scouting Factory not going to visit the natural expansion. Actually, somehow he did see that robotics bay. I think he did scan before he started to march up that ramp. WhiteRa trying to take his 3rd base now as well. Did he see the 3rd for BratOK yet? No, he hasn't, but he's about to discover it here in just a moment. There he sees it turning into an orbital command. Couple of medevacs look like they're going to be dropping over here soon, but he is going to wait for WhiteRa's anti-air to move away. He could actually do a dual-pronged attack here. Lots of Marines and Marauders up the front. He does scan, so he gets WhiteRa a little bit nervous there. All those anti-air units are back here to the front lines, so the medevacs are just going to slip in here. There's no real defense on this side of WhiteRa's base. I'm going to watch the front attack and go ahead and drop the medevacs into the picture-in-picture here. All the units from WhiteRa actually just got drawn to that back location, so BratOK is having a fun time here at the front. He's not even going to advance yet. He's actually just microing there in the picture-in-picture, and now we see him stem up with the bulk of his forces. Actually, both forces joining together. He just ran past the remaining forces of WhiteRa. He's going to take out the robotics facility extremely quickly, take out that pylon, kill off a couple more units, and WhiteRa GG's. He says good job to BratOK, and he GG's back. So that was quite a nice little short but nice PVT series for the Black Dragon League. Congratulations to BratOK for taking down WhiteRa. Always an accomplishment in itself. WhiteRa did make a couple of little costly mistakes in both games 2 and 3 to lose the series, but BratOK showing us some very, very good, solid early game play. Hope you guys enjoyed those games. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys very, very soon with some more games.